Peace, peace, beautiful beings, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, I am Coach Vee, and I am a certified holistic life coach, speaker, and author, and I'm the creator of the Mental Health is Sexy brand. If you want to know more about my brand or about my new self-help book, I encourage you to search through the playlist here on my channel to find out that amazing information. Today is Tuesday, September the 1st, 2020, and I'm a very spiritual person. Not religious, very spiritual. I do a lot of spiritual practices, a lot of grounding work. I am clairaudient, so I hear messages from spirit, from my angel guides. I dream very vividly. And so it's been impressed upon me to start a new segment on my YouTube channel, and today is the first day of that new segment. This segment is going to be along the lines when people do mukbangs, however you say it, where they're eating and just having conversation. But if you know anything about me, you know that mental health is my jam. Thus, I created the Mental Health is Sexy brand. If you haven't figured out already, I love purple, the color royal purple. My country boy, aka my husband, just allowed me to change the draperies in the house. And so these beautiful purple drapes behind me, we've had them maybe a week. So I went ahead and put on a purple dress, have on my purple lipstick. I love purple, and purple is all throughout my brand. So I thought it would be cool for the first day to be dripped in purple to introduce this new segment. So again, keeping along the theme with mukbangs, when people are eating and talking, I am going to have this segment called Mental Health with a Meal. So I'm going to have these conversations where I'm just talking about mental health topics. Some are going to be personal to me, some are just going to be in general, and I'm going to be eating. So I don't know if I'm going to settle on mental health with a meal, but it's going to be something about mental health and a meal. Maybe it'll be that, mental health and a meal, not mental health with a meal. And so today is the first day I'm doing this. I'm going to be mindful of the time. I would love to keep it 30 minutes or less. And because it's the first day and I don't have any sponsors for this segment, I just made me a simple lunch today with things that I have in my own refrigerator. So I'm feeling this out. I hope that you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments, leave me a like, subscribe to my channel, please, and tell people about this segment because Spirit's impressed upon me that I stick with it. It's going to be a big deal. So with that being said, I'm going to start off each segment with sharing with you what I will be dining on throughout this mental health with a meal. And like I said, I have no sponsors, so this is just me and something I just put together really quick. Like some days I'm going to have leftovers, just whatever I find, right? So I'm in Cincinnati, and the most popular, bestest chip in Cincinnati are Grippos. So I have Grippos, and I made, yes, on my fine paper plate, I made me a lunch meat sandwich. So my sandwich has Oscar Mayer oven roasted turkey breast. It has Sargento Colby pepper jack cheese, and I have Sara Lee wheat bread, and I have real mayo as well as some regular yellow mustard. And I made my sandwich, placed it in the microwave for a few moments because I wanted it to be warm and I wanted the cheese to be a little softer. And then I put my Grippos on there. And to drink, I have my Starbucks. I got this from Walmart. My Starbucks mocha frappuccino made with almond milk. I have a bottle of Nestle Pure Life water. And because I don't get enough fiber, I believe, so I have digestive challenges. So I have a strawberry Activia because these things work. If y'all have digestive issues and the commercial that used to have Jamie Lee Curtis in it about Activia and it has the right bacteria, this stuff works. I usually take 2 a day, to be honest, but I have 1 with lunch. And then I have a little sweet treat afterwards. So this is my Ghirardelli Squares chocolate. And I found out that I really like the sea salt chocolate. So if I'm able to stay within my 30 minutes, y'all will see me taste this and get a reaction. But we'll see. So today, what I want to talk about, we are 5 minutes in. So at the 35-minute mark, I need to be wrapping up because I just want these to be 30 minutes or less. Oh my gosh. So if you're connected with me on any social media platform, you may have seen me post and talk about that life has been really testing me the past 30 to 45 days. And I mean, it has been major blows. Now, we already know that 2020 has been like super crazy, right? With the pandemic, with the Black Lives Matter movement, with the killer hornets, with political stuff. Like, it's been a crazy, crazy year. So, but I've been able to thrive. You know, business stopped and halted because as a speaker, you know, I'm usually in person. I just released a book this year that I wanted to do a little tour, and that got halted. But thankfully, I was able to still have my book touch 28 different cities. When I did my end of year planning for 2019, I turned 40 this year in May, so I'm part of the 40 and Fabulous Club. I wanted to travel to 40 different cities on a book tour and share my message and my signature brand about mental health being sexy. But COVID hit, so I wasn't able to do that. However, through book sales, my book has touched 28 different cities. And amongst those 28 different cities, there's been 3 different countries, right? So the United States where I reside, Canada, and the United Kingdom. So I'm 12 cities shy of my 40 city goal, so I got to put some pressure on that. So in that aspect, I was halted. But during this quarantine, I've been able to do a few things that for years I haven't been able to just grasp my head around. And a huge thing for me was I was able to build my own website using GoDaddy. For some reason, it never clicked. I tried Wix, I tried Bluehost. I would get frustrated and I would abandon it. But under this quarantine time, I actually put together me a web and e-commerce site that works, that takes payments, that fulfills orders. And, you know, that was a huge accomplishment for me. So when I say that the past 30 to 45 days have been a huge gut punch for me, it's not because of the virus or anything that's been going on in the world. Personally, my life has been jolted. And without getting into too much detail, I just want to talk to parents, not just mothers, not just fathers. I just want to have my first mental health with a meal conversation talking to parents. And not just black parents, not just minority parents, just parents, period. Because the content on this mental health in a meal, y'all see I keep shifting back and forth. Mental health with a meal is going to be crossing all nationalities, sexes, genders, racial barriers, religious beliefs, like age groups. It's going to cross everyone. So this is going to be a vulnerable segment for me, but it's something that I feel is also therapeutic because I've learned in my coaching practice and in my speaking that when I share my story and my message with you, it also helps me. So with that being said, let me take a sippy sip. Okay. So being a parent is like a challenging thing. You know, we hear the cliche, we don't get a manual, and we don't. We make these babies, whether we're on our own or whether we're in a committed relationship or a marriage, and we don't have a manual. We wing it. And a lot of times we reference our upbringing as to what we want to do or not want to do when it comes to our own children. Sometimes, though, that cognitive dissonance is so strong that we repeat patterns and habits with our own families that we hated experiencing when we were growing up. I gotta remember to eat, right? So, first of all, that sandwich is fire. It's not too warm. I had it in the microwave just enough time. And it's funny because I just started eating pepper jack cheese in June. My husband and I went on a couple's mini vacation to Gatlinburg. And actually my brother-in-law made hamburgers that had pepper jack cheese on some of them. And I tasted it and I loved it. So for the past couple months, every time I go to the store and buy a Colby Jack, I also buy a pepper jack. Okay. So again, there's no instruction manuals that we get as parents. We wing it. We go from stories that family and friends have told us, things we might see on TV, things we might read in a book. We reference our upbringing. And that cognitive dissonance sometimes, though, meaning there's things that we experience or things that was done to us that we know didn't feel good, that we know was wrong, but then we practice those things with our own children because that's all we know. Until we are comfortable enough with changing and pushing through and breaking certain cycles within our own family. With that being said, I was raised in an environment that I hated. And it took me until 4 years after my mother transitioned physically to understand that my mom wasn't a horrible person. My mom still had unresolved trauma. She had healing that needed to be done. She had mental health challenges, meaning not necessarily diagnosed with a mental illness, but just regular mental health challenges as far as self-care, as far as broken hearts, as far as not overcoming the abuse she experienced. So all those things together, she raised us in the way that she knew how. And us meaning my sister and I. Me and my sister. But it took me till 4 years after my mom died to understand and accept that my mom was not a horrible person. That she literally just did what she knew how to do or what she thought was right when it came to raising me and my sister, right? So, let me tell y'all something about this mental health in the meal. I am so polite when eating. I think that this may be a challenge for me. Like, I don't like to chew with my mouth open. I don't like smacking. I don't like stuffing food in my mouth. And a lot of the mukbangs I see, people are eating and smacking and not minding their manners. So this may be a challenge for me, but we'll see. Because this food is in front of me and I'm hungry, honey. But I'm like, you're not supposed to eat and talk. So we'll see how this goes. So I might be 5 videos in and be like, y'all know what? Okay, back on topic. So it took me 4 years after my mom transitioned to accept and understand that my mom did the best that she knew how to do with the materials that she had to work with, right, when it came to raising kids. My mom suffered so much abuse as a child, as an adult, from how she was raised, to the culture, to the men that she chose to deal with. So I feel like my mom, all she knew was abuse. And no one taught her anything different. Fast forward to me having children. The early part of my daughter's childhood was rough. Because I mentally, emotionally, and physically can admit that I was an abuser. I knew it wasn't right, but that's all I knew how to do. That's the only reaction that I had. And it takes a lot for me even to say this on camera to you all. The only reason why I'm able to do that now is because for almost 10 years now, I've been walking a very enlightened path and to be a better mom. But before I did that, I had to forgive myself. I had to forgive myself for the mistakes I made with my own children, right? And not making an excuse for me, but I had to understand this is why I did this. This is where I learned it from. And quit punishing myself for past behavior. I had to get to a point where I knew that it was okay to forgive me and that I accepted that it was okay to do something different. That it didn't make me less of a black mama. That it didn't make me soft. And the quotes, you black parents out there, especially mothers and fathers, because we're not going to exclude you all. Y'all know what I mean by that quote. If we are around a certain group of people who think that way and we choose not to physically discipline our children and we choose to do timeouts or take things away versus punching them in the chest or cussing them out or talking to them crazy, then there's that stigma and that teasing from our own community that we're not a real black mama. We're not a real black parent. You trying to be bougie. You ain't white. Like, the lack of support is crazy. However, if you walking around punching your kids in the chest, cussing them out, throwing stuff at them, then it's like, I would have beat his butt too. Or I would have beat her little fast A word too. Like, we got to stop that. But that's a whole nother mental health and meal conversation, right? We'll save that for another day. So it took me until 2012 to really understand that, okay, everything I did in the past as a woman, as an employee, as a spouse, as a mother, I forgive you for that. I forgive myself for that. We're not going to keep beating you up about it. You've made amends. You've apologized where needed. You've apologized to your children. You've cut off people and things that, triggered you and got you into these particular spaces. So now, sis, it's time for you to put in the work and be a better mom, be a better woman, be a better spouse, be a better mate. Like, it's be a better business person. Like, it's time for you to, like, just really, make these changes, right? Told y'all I gotta remember to eat. So, I embarked on this journey of breaking a cycle, right? I'm breaking a cycle of verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. And that was hard because that's all I knew growing up. I remember my dad whooping my mom's behind. I remember my mom whooping my behind. I remember hearing stories in the family about other people having, physical abuse challenges. And it was like, that's all I knew. That's all that's glorified in certain entertainment that I indulged in. Like, I was not around the space of people where it was like, Brandy, have a seat. And Brandy, listen, So, it was an adjustment for me and my children that, okay, mommy is not over disciplining. Oh my gosh. Mommy's not yelling. Oh my gosh. Mommy's not going to pop me. Oh my gosh. Mommy's not going to beat me. Oh my gosh. Mommy's not going to do all these things. Like, oh my gosh, like, this is new. It was actually a period in my family where my children, I think, sometimes looked at me like, okay, who are you and what have you done with my mama? And bring her back. Like, it was a complete shift, a complete adjustment within my personal family. So fast forward, sometimes when your family's interrupted, in my case, custody was changed for 4.5 years with one child. And then for 9 months, my other child was with her dad. When there's an interruption in parenting style, I'm learning over the past 45 days that if the child is a very impressionable age, like a young age where they're formulating things and going through puberty and trying to identify who they are, and they come back to you and you've made all these changes and you're peace and love, again, it's like, who are you and what have you done with my mom? This isn't who I left. This isn't the lady that I'm used to. So I think that sometimes children also suffer from cognitive dissonance. Like, we teach them certain ways to be, to not be, especially if you are the leader in your family for change. If you're the leader in your family for doing something different. If you're the leader in your family on forgiveness. Not being perfect. And you're preaching that. Hey, I'm not perfect. I'm going to get things wrong. What I can promise you, though, is that I'm going to apologize, make amends, and work harder to fix it. I know I'm not perfect. A player going to mess up sometime. But the type of energy I want to create within this family is that we acknowledge that, we fix it, we change it, and we move forward, and we don't condemn ourselves because we made a mistake, right? But what's challenging, though, like as a parent, you can do all of that and still not know up here what's going on with your child. You can check in on them. You can ask them, do they need to talk? You can advocate for them. You can defend them. You can discipline them in love. You can correct them. You can support them. But then our children can still choose at a certain age to do their own thing. Like, they can still choose to, go a totally different direction from what you've been advocating for and pouring into them. You can be like a whole receipt on how you can change your life, on how you can be a better person, on how when you mess up or when you drop the ball, how you can fix it and correct it. You can be like a whole receipt in-house for your child, and then they can still choose to do, be, say who they want to be, and it be totally contradictory to who you are raising them to be. It could be total contradictory. And if we don't have a mental health routine in place, that can be a almost fatal blow as a parent. Because you begin to think about how you used to be and the environment you placed them in and the environment you took them out of and how much work you've done and how it wasn't a fairy tale, how they were real life with you in the trenches when you were going through these changes and this metamorphosis on being a better person, being a better parent. Like, they had a real life example. It wasn't their friend's story. It wasn't a movie they watched. It wasn't a book they read. Like, you can be in their space and be a real life receipt for them. Like, a real life example that change is possible, that it gets better, that you can heal. Like, a real life example, and your child can still choose to walk a path that you don't want for them. And if we don't have a mental health routine in place as parents, as mothers, as fathers, as caretakers, like, that could knock us all the way off our square and make us feel like, well, what did I do all this work for? What did I make all these changes for? You know, I should have beat you. I should have done this. Like, it can make you feel like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? If you don't have a steady, successful mental health routine in place. And that's where I've been. Like, that's where I've been the past 30 to 45 days. There has been such a blow that I've experienced during that time frame as a mother. And had it not been for my other child, had it not been for my country boy, had it not been for a best friend of 20 some odd years and another friend of 15 plus years, who knows? I may be in a deep depression right now and not be able to talk to y'all today. Because you don't tell everybody your business. You know, and then when you have people that try to slander your name because they knew you back when, or they try to play upon how you used to be in an effort to get people to side with them, like, it could have been, I could not have been here with y'all today. I could have been back to exhibiting depressive signs. I could have been back to cutting myself. I could have disappeared. I could have drunk myself to death. There's so many things that I could have done had I not had a mental health routine in place. So these are things that you have in place before life happens, before a major blow happens. Because if you don't, there are practices that are hard to get started or hard to initiate because you're already in a low place. Right? So when I talk to parents, like, it's so important to have a mental health routine in place, a healthy mental health routine in place, because these kids out here will blindside you. You know, they will have you thinking everything's Gucci. They will have you thinking that they're listening to you, they're following your guidance, that they're supporting you, and all the while, like, they finessing you. Like, and if you're an empath, or you're spiritually gifted in another way, and you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on to universal energies, you take on not only the energy of your loved ones, but then you internalize stuff so deep that if you don't have a check and balances system around you, baby, like, I told my husband the other day, you couldn't pay me to have a kid in this day and age. You couldn't. Unless I was, like, super wealthy and could protect them from, you know, as many outside influences as possible, and I would have the time and the resources to really pour into them in informative years. Money wasn't an issue. But you could not pay me to have a child now and struggle. And when I say struggle, I don't just mean financially. I mean socially. I mean mentally. I mean emotionally. Like, I think that this time right now for children and the influences, because even with the financial resources to be with your child every day, there's going to be a point that they could be in the next room on social media, on the internet, on Netflix, on Hulu, on their game system, doing something that they know you won't approve of. And then you're left stuck trying to figure out, what did I do wrong? Where did I drop the ball? I showed you that change is possible. This is not how I'm raising you. This is how our past used to be. What is the issue? Talk to me. I'm here. Like, if you don't have a system in place to protect your mental health as parents, baby, you setting yourself up for failure. And as I mentioned, this is something that you have to have in place before you get gut punched by a situation. You have to regularly have something in place. So some things that I do for a mental health routine, I still watch cartoons. I still watch throwback cartoons, a couple of the new ones, because it allows me to be in touch with that part of my childhood where I didn't have any responsibilities. Where my responsibility was to make sure I didn't miss an episode of a cartoon so I could talk about it on the bus the way to school the next day. Like, that's what cartoons give to me. They allow me to not have to be so adult and responsible. It's like escapism, so to speak. Something else I do, I practice grounding. I go outside barefoot, sometimes when it's raining, oftentimes when the sun out, and I will stand not on concrete. I have to stand in the dirt or I have to stand in the grass. Because what that does is remind me that we're not so separate. Like, I am tuned in, tapped in, and turned on to Mother Nature. I'm reminded when I just stand still and watch the birds eat that they're provided for every day. I'm reminded how beautiful life is when I see a black butterfly with blue dots fly by. I'm reminded when I see the dragonfly of the spiritual meaning from that. I'm reminded when the grass is in between my toes, how beautiful life really is. When the sun is basking on my beautiful melanin skin, about how there's a new day, there's new strength, there's new renewal. And it's proven that vitamin D is great when it comes to combating depression. Studies have shown that people who suffer from depression are also deficient in vitamin D. Look it up. So, I practice grounding. I journal. When I say I journal, I'm not talking about a diary where I say, "Dear Diary." I journal about the things I'm grateful for, the blessings that I have, the amazing things that's happened to me. I speak into existence the things that I want. I ask for things. I meditate. I pray. Sometimes I just get in the car and drive. Depending on how I'm feeling, I might turn on YouTube and listen to some affirmations, or I might turn on some trap music and just turn it up loud, speakers at the windows down, and just like rock out. You feel me? I do think I might go for a walk. I do so many different things that are non-medicinal, but they support my mental health. This right here, this new segment. Even though I'm not specifically talking about what I've been through the past 30 to 45 days, I assure you that me even having this conversation, and if one person sees this segment and gets support from it or gets encouragement from it, or they feel like confident that they can deal with another day, or it reassures them that, you know, they're a great parent, even if there's adjustments that need to be made, if one person sees this and comments this or DMs me and lets me know this was so helpful, I'm good. Because I'm good already by sharing with you all, by following Spirit and doing this segment. So I'm going to be even super well. This video helps someone. So I need y'all to let me know in the comments. I need y'all to give this a like. I need y'all to subscribe. I need y'all to share. Because usually when I follow Spirit, it ain't Spirit that be messing up. I be messing up. Every single time I follow Spirit and not halfway did it, like I 100% all caution to the wind follow Spirit, it turns out for my good. And it's always a way for me to help and benefit other people. I recently had somebody remind me, oh Lord, that the work that I'm doing is to save lives. Like, I am literally saving lives. I didn't think about it that way. Because when you think about saving lives, you think about doctors and nurses. When you think about legally, you think about attorneys. Like, you don't think about YouTubers or an author or a speaker or a brand creator. I didn't think about it that way. But a friend of mine once in a while checks out my social media, couldn't get a hold of me, so sent me an email. And if you see this, you know who you are. I appreciate you. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But that friend of mine reminded me that my commission, not my mission, my commission that's divinely ordained saves lives. So because my commission is so strong and it's backed up by God, source, the creator, the universe, whatever you see fit to put in a sentence, because my commission is so strong and backed up and ordained by God, of course the devil or negative energy or whatever you want to call it is going to come through and try to knock me off my square. Because my commission is so big. I am literally saving lives with my message, with my transparency, with my vulnerability. So did I think it was going to be easy? I'm fighting tears right now saying this because I just got the email yesterday. So the message is very fresh to me from that person. And when I respond in email in kind, I'm probably going to be crying. I'm probably going to share with them crying while I'm typing. Because just that message alone put in perspective for me that I got to get out of my feelings. I got to get out of my feelings, protect my mental health at all costs, even if it has to do with immediate family. I got to protect my mental health at all costs, because even though I'm going to claim temporarily, because my baby going to get it together. Even though I may temporarily not be able to save that particular person, there are thousands, millions, I'm going to claim it, billions of other people who are waiting to hear from me, who are waiting to be inspired from me, who are waiting to express the whole experience that is Coach Vee, that needs saving. So I have to understand and accept that, yeah, a player mess up, things are going to happen, but get it together. Spend the time that you need to move through that energy. Apply the principles you wrote about in your book. Coach yourself. Tap in some help if you need to. Phone a friend. Do what you need to do healthy to get your mental together, sis, because you got lives to save. Like, it's giving me chills even saying that right now. So again, big ups and thank you to that friend who couldn't reach me but took the time to send me an email like, hey, if I can't get you on the phone, I know how to get you. And I appreciate the email more because it's something I'm able to go back and read versus a conversation I'm going to have to remember the key points. So it worked out how it was supposed to. I needed it so I can go back and read it. Y'all, I'm doing a horrible job with the meal part. We're going to end this segment here. Let me know what y'all think. Leave me a like, a comment, subscribe to this channel, share with me. Parents, let me know what you think about this conversation. I'll be recording Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Mental health with a meal. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be blessed. Mental health is sexy. Coach Vee out.